All right. So for a long time, there's been talks of a Christopher Reeves doc.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and there was some controversy about would DC be involved, would they not be involved, who would make the doc. This doc has been spoken about for a few years.
Mm-hmm.
And we finally have a trailer and a release date for Super Slash Man, the Christopher Reeves story. And so, yeah, I mean, they dropped a really long trailer.
Mm-hmm.
It's like 3.5 minutes.
Yeah.
Um, but it paints a very clear picture of the story they're going to tell. And I got to be honest, even if I was not a Superman fan,
Mm-hmm.
even if I was not a Christopher Reeves fan,
Mm-hmm.
I just as a person who enjoys documentaries, I appreciate that they are telling what seems to be a full scope story,
Mm-hmm.
right? They're giving us kind of a panoramic view of of what happened. I can't say what's going on because
Mm-hmm.
Christopher Reeves passed, but what happened with Christopher Reeves both before, during, and after being Superman um, in this career changing role, and also before, during, and after his tragic accident.
Yeah.
So I think it looks like a great doc. Again, even if I'm not a Superman fan, even if I'm not a Christopher Reeves fan, it looks like wow, they put a lot of work into this,
Mm-hmm.
and it looks like they're doing a great job. Now, I have to be very honest. Spoiler alert: if you did not see this trailer, even though I don't think you're supposed to say spoiler alert for a trailer, but whatever. Um, I had no idea him and Robin Williams were friends.
I didn't know that
I feel
either.
like I've been living under a rock, and the trailers like they were so close. You see them at like different events, speaking together and speaking
Yeah.
kindly of each other, and wow, that just like really hit me because I'm also a big Robin Williams fan,
Yeah.
and I had no idea. And this is what I mean when I say very often that I don't follow cats' personal lives. I just watch what they do. So like I would watch the Robin Williams movies, watch the
Mm-hmm.
Robin Williams stand-ups. But I mean, before he passed, I didn't know really much about the person. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's
Um,
that's reasonable.
yeah, and so that hit me too. It looked like this is gonna be a tearjerker. It looked like they are going to pull on our heartstrings as much as possible during this doc. But it also looks like it's going to be informative and let people know some of the things that they may not know and some of the things that um, they probably should know, right, about the legacy of
Mm-hmm.
this man who is larger than life for most of us in this millennial age bracket. Because even if you were not a Superman fan, that movie and those
Oh
movies
yeah.
were all over television
Of course.
and all over the place, toys and ads and reruns and all of that. I remember at one point Channel 11 was just playing Superman movies all the time.
Yeah, I remember
You're
that.
like, oh, it's on again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which one is it this time?
Yeah. Used to watch it
Um,
a lot.
yeah, it was on TV a lot. And so for me, I am a Superman fan. He was our Superman for a long time. That was the name Superman was synonymous with Christopher Reeves for a long time. I know today we've seen other people be Superman, but those four movies, what it did for the film industry,
Mm-hmm.
and what it did for comic book fans was iconic, and so was Christopher Reeves. And so, yeah, this is an important one for me to watch. I gotta go watch it twice, maybe three times. You know what I'm saying? I gotta go watch it and support and show love to this icon. Um, and I said this already, but I'm glad that DC was involved because I know a while ago there was a bit of a discrepancy and people were unsure what was going to happen with certain things.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm glad that they were able to get it together, DC and Reeves family, and come to some sort of agreement and make this happen. I think this is an important thing for people to know. Um, And see, um, because of the role he played in the industry, and today a lot of these comic book movies,
Hmm.
um, they're so big. Um, Christopher Reeves was the superhero movie for a minute.
Yeah.
So yeah, I gotta go pay homage and probably go get these tears out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I definitely want to see it. And it definitely looks like it's going to be an emotional ride watching something like this. It looks really interesting. Um, and I remember it too. I mean, I don't know that I was ever like, like into superheroes in a big way. Um, but it was Superman. I mean, there was
When we were
no,
kids, right?
yeah, when we were kids, there was no getting around that. And I say that, but I think about my childhood, I think about my youth, and whatever was on TV for kids was what we watched. So, especially when we were with our cousins. So, you know, we talked today about some of these titles, and I've seen a lot of them, like as a kid, when they were some of them were not just Superman, but when you talk about like X-Men and things like that were cartoons or whatever it was, I was totally tapped in as a kid to all of that stuff. I didn't continue to follow it as I got older, and I think now I'm a little bit more interested in it than I was, in those in between years. But when you talk specifically about Superman, like there's no denying that um, it was a big part of our generation, and
Yeah,
and like you said, like you could turn on the TV on the weekends and
it will be
that
on.
would be what would be on. Um, and that was kind of, to me, I guess that's what I always thought of. I always thought of Superman as the superhero. Like that was the one. I never really considered all of the other ones in that way, maybe Batman. But outside of that, um, that would, if you ask me a superhero's name, that's probably the one that I'm going to say the most.
Yeah,
And
and it was definitely that and Michael Keaton Batman.
Yeah, and like you said, Christopher Reeves is iconic as it pertains to this role. I mean, you can't talk about him without talking about Superman. I thought I'm really interested to um, hear what his family has to say.
Yeah,
His family seems to be very involved. His children
yeah,
are all involved. In fact, they look like carbon copies of him, clones, if you will. We'll get into clones a little bit more later, but um, yeah, they look. Except for I think the one son, the rest of them look like they just took his face and put it
yeah,
right on their bodies. So, and it looks like his wife has an interesting story as well, and just like dealing with his condition and all of that. So I'm locked in. I would love to see it. And I can't wait till it comes out.
yeah.
I feel like,
September 21st, I think it was.
yeah, I feel like some of these stories need to be told.
Yeah,
Um, and this
and I
is one
love.
of them.
Sorry to cut you off. I love that it's going to theaters
Yeah, me
because a lot
too.
of these docs they're just on such and such streaming app,
Yeah,
and so I love that this is in theaters. This is good.
yeah. When I was watching the trailer, I had hoped for that, and then when I hit the drop down on YouTube, I was like, oh, okay, that's gonna be in theaters, so that's cool. But yeah, yeah, I definitely want to see it. Comes out in just a few weeks.
Yep.
Yeah,
I might have to take baby girl in there. You know what I mean? Let her see a little piece of history.
yeah, yeah. Of course.
Yeah, thinking about that.